Hello everybody, I would like to make a video about what I learned traveling for 2 years in Albania and other countries. So like in Albania I've been about 2 years, in Italy about 3 weeks, in Greece about 2 weeks, in Turkey 5 to 6 days, um, Bosnia Herzegovina 2 days, Belgium 4 to 5 days. Montenegro, really nice, I would say. Structurally wise, it's very nice. If you, I guess, like good infrastructure and I guess uh, would like to able to park a car in a normal place. Kosovo for 3 days, Spain 4 days, uh, France 1 day, Bulgaria 4 days, and North Macedonia 2 days. And the biggest one, since majority among the religions, for example, in Albania, it's Islam, Turkey, it's like 99% Muslims, uh, Bosnia Herzegovina, I think it's the majority as well, even though I have not seen one Muslim dressed up there. Kosovo, 3 days, and like those four countries that are the majority of the population is Muslim. So the biggest one I've been thinking about throughout all of this. So historically, in the beginning, Islam is violent. Yes, I agree. But what I've been, how many people I've been talking to, and some things became apparent to me that most Muslims never read nor studied Quran, like 99.9%, because you do have to learn Arabic, not just to able to pronounce it, but also able to comprehend what is written. Because I know there's uh, Muslims who know how to read it, but they do not know the meaning behind it. So um, think about this: a person is forced into Islam from birth. They would have to wake up at like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning if it's summertime, like in Albania, for example. And the latest prayer is like around 10 p.m., like during the summertime, which is already tiresome and exhausting in itself. Then also I find out that some translations, at least in English and in Russian, are edited, that they would take out or they would not even translate certain parts, like how old was Aisha when Muhammad had first intercourse with her. So modern Muslims, if they read Quran in their language, it most likely is mistranslated or edited on purpose. So I've been thinking about this. If a person who were born into Islam, yet he or she never studied Quran or its history, can you call him or her a Muslim or a person who is forced into religion? I also been thinking about since I've been in United States Army, I've been thinking about this. If a foreign army attacked Iraq and an Iraqi fought the invader, would it make him defender of his nation, or this terrorist supposedly they call them? My opinion is more of a defender of the nation. Like if somebody invades America, Americans have the right to defend themselves. If somebody invades Iran, Iranians have the right to defend themselves. Then also I've been thinking, if a person who never read the Quran or voluntarily practices Islam forced conversion by birth, basically. They live in a in poor Islamic country, let's just say like Yemen, for example, or Afghanistan, and some military group or terror group offered him money to fight for Islam. Would he be a mercenary or extreme Muslim? I mean, if somebody never read the Quran, never really practiced before, um, I guess fighting for so-called Islam, and they just do it out of money, it's more of a mercenary. Yet maybe somebody who has the money, yet they are actually practicing Islam, then yes, you can call them. I would actually call them more of a traditionalist or fundamental Muslim. But if somebody never read the Quran, he just do it because of money, I think he's more of a mercenary, not extreme Muslim. Same goes with Crusades, who believed pa- papists' lies about the crusade. Imagine Catholic who never read the Bible, just follow man-made traditions and Catholic idolatry from birth, who is promised the forgiveness of sins for killing Muslims, participating in crusades. Maybe useful idiot for Pope or or false converts. And I know some knights actually they fought to become rich. And of course, none of the Catholics received forgiveness of sins for fighting the Crusades. Christ says, "Love your enemies, do 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 good those who persecute you. If my kingdom is not of this world, otherwise my slaves would fight." So Crusaders itself have no biblical support to do what they did. On top of this, if you know more, a little bit more about church history, is that basically Orthodoxy and Catholicism they became separate, and I think it was like in Third Crusade when Crusaders sacked and destroyed Constantinople. Um, but basically, it just shows that the Crusaders themselves they were more for money, and same goes with uh, people who person who was born in Islamic country but never read the Quran and they got offered um, a good money. Like let's just say if you live in Afghanistan, you know you're poor, and all of a sudden somebody offer you $1,000 a week to fight in um, some extremist group. I think this person more of a mercenary instead of extreme Muslim. If somebody is extreme Muslim, they would for it for free, not for money. I mean, next, Elsa, I've been to Italy and basically asked quite few taxi drivers or just regular people who live in Italy that you know, what do you think about the Pope? Do you know about, um, the pedo stuff, kidnapping, uh, raping, and then disposing the bodies or murdering them? And seems like actually lots of people know about that, and they know that Pope and like police, carabinieri, they covering up this up if one of the priests committed uh, horrible, wicked sin like that. So it's interesting that Italians, they know some of them protested, but seems like, I don't know, it's kind of like a apathy maybe. It's like, if it's not my kid, it's okay, but if it's my kid, then I will start protesting it. So that's what I saw in Italy. Next, um, in Greece, what I saw is that Orthodox idolatry everywhere. They really well funded by the state. Yet many Greeks live in poverty. To me, the biggest one was like Meteora, which is the picture on the left. It's pretty much 5-star monastery, and right by it, I noticed people live very poor. Like some people live in garages, some people live in shacks. You know what I mean? So yeah, I mean it's an interesting things that I find out later on from couple of people basically is that lots of men in Greece are homosexuals, and if you in Romans chapter 1, if you worship creation rather than the creator, God will give you over to homosexuality. So there you have it. And next one is I want to talk about like religions in Albania. Interesting things that in Albania is like 45% like Islam, but then actually there's like some kind of branch of Islam called uh, Bektashism, and it's basically some kind of combination of Islam. I have not really like investigated well, but it's very interesting. But basically, what I see is that um, so-called Islam in Albania is kind of like one in a thousand. Literally, like you can see somebody dress up like in traditional Muslim garments and stuff, and the rest walk around in normal Western dresses, and uh, they eat pork, gyro, they drink alcohol, raki. So to me, honestly, like what I see 99.9% of the time is basically Muslims, right, just in a name only. So, and once again, in order to, in my opinion, become a Muslim, like real Muslim, you gotta read the Quran at least one time in your life. Otherwise, you just follow whatever Muhammad says. Because, like in Kosovo, for example, to me, I call it more like a pro-American, westernized Islam, and over there is like a 95% of supposed so-called Muslims. So, me personally, what they show on TV, some so-called like this extremist. I wonder if those so-called um, some Muslim extremists, they actually do it for money. They actually got paid tons of money. They themselves never read the Quran, but they would do whatever political person would tell them to do. So, me personally, I did kind of change my opinion about Islam. That yes, basically, historically, it is violent religion, but in 21st century, most of the Muslims never read the Quran because it's time exhausting to learn Arabic of what seventh or 8th century, whenever Quran was written in. Else, I kind of was very disappointed about Protestantism in Albania because sad to say, what I saw is that mostly of so-called Protestants are either Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, or prosperity nonsense people. Basically, out of this 0.45 population, uh, one church, okay, maybe two, maybe okay, one in Tirana, one in Shkodër, that's somewhat biblical. So, and the rest is more like money grabbers. I know one family, this one so-called f f husband and a wife with a tiny church where they would send their children to study business finance in United States on student visa, and each year approximately it would cost about $100,000. So they had like three children times 4 years each is 12 years times 100,000 plus minus. So it's over $1 million of fraud in my opinion. They have lots of prosperity false pastors who live in a million euro homes or $1 million home because at that time euro and dollar was very similar in cost. But basically, sad to say is that in Albania, among those 13 to 15,000, I don't know. I mean, it's at least visibly wise, due to Mormonism, Jehovah's Witnessism, and prosperity gospel, maybe like out of those, even those tiny amount, most of the people are not saved. Next, interesting thing that to live in Albania, I would say it's about $1,000 per person. Like if you want to live a good, comfortable life, like if you think about evangelizing, let's just say you, your spouse, and a child. I mean, even like $3,000, that's actually really good money. Like you would not have to worry about anything. Just I guess preaching the gospel, evangelizing. I mean, save $2,000. $2,000 actually for three persons is actually pretty good as well. But 3,000 is basically you like, you're pretty much a king in Albania. But I would say three persons, about minimum of 2,000, and 3,000 or more is basically you can do whatever you want. You don't have to work, whatever. If you have a pension or you have, um, you know, support, you don't have to worry about anything. But interesting things that to me, like the biggest gold mine that Albania has is basically there's Korcha, like they have a Greek club where they teach modern Greek for free. I know in Himara and Saranda there are many Greek speakers. Um, I don't know if you know, but basically it's about 60 to 70% of Kini. By the way, I know some Americans would pronounce koine, but it's a Kini, Kamen, Kini Greek, Kini Yelenika. Common Greek vocabulary is about 60 to 70%. So if you learn modern Greek, you should be able to read about 60 to 70 percent of um, original manuscripts. So in my opinion, like the golden mine in Albania, those three places that you can learn Greek for free, you can practice Greek in Albania. By the way, Korç is about 45 to an hour away from Greece, and uh, Saranda, it's like I forget how many miles, but it's like really close to Corfu, Greek island. So, and if you see on a map, there's like a bunch of blue right there. That's basically Greek speakers. Like you notice in some, in South Albania is basically like in some places almost like 100% population speak Greek. So, um, if you want to learn Greek at cheaper price than going to Greek or going to seminary, here we go. Especially if you have a child, since um, by the way, like saddest part, like this this Albanian Protestantism is that it took them how many, almost a century to figure out to translate uh, the Bible from original text, from original Greek, where Greece is right there next to them. They didn't have to send nobody to America to study Greek. And by the way, there's no way you can tell me that American professors know Greek better than Greeks. Many Greeks are forced to study Greek for ancient Greek for at least 4 years in high school. Some I know that they have been studying ancient Greek for 8 years, like in middle and high school. So, um, in my opinion, that's like gold mine right there. Like if you send somebody to those places to study Greek and able to um, learn it, where this person has ability to know modern Greek, and because of that he'll be able to understand 60 to 70% of vocabulary of New Testament Kini Greek. That's like gold mine for me, at least, right there. And the another thing that I notice in not just Albania, but in not just Europe, but throughout the world, I see Mormons and Jehovah Witnesses falsely evangelizing. Yet I have not seen not one um, evangelist. Me and my wife did evangelize in Korcha, Albania. Um, I usually start off like a Ray Comfort, like, can I ask you a couple of spiritual questions? If you would have died today, where would you go, hell or heaven? And depending on the response, we would continue conversation. That's like the easiest one to easiest way to start the conversation of evangelizing. So, sadly, I mean, write in a comment. Does your church have a group of evangelists who actually evangelized on the street or door to door, or you know, kind of like, hey, let's go to, let's just say, evangelize to like concerts, outside of the concerts or outside of big events and stuff. Because sad to say, what I saw both in America and Europe, it's basically there's no conservative Christians evangelizing, no Baptist, no Anabaptist. It's mostly Mormons and Jehovah Witnesses, which is false religion with false Christs, with false gospels. And the last thing I would like to say is that basically, yeah, there's a big difference eating GMO food in America and organic food throughout Europe. I noticed big time difference. So yeah, basically in America they feed us poison. So that's it for now.